Well guys, spring has finally arrived here in southern Ontario. I mean, we might get the odd straggling snowfall that may randomly show up in the middle of the day or at night. Wake up in the morning and be like, were we done with that yet? Well, what springtime brings is time to bring the bike out. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving this an inspection before I get the spring service started, because I want to know exactly what I need to work on to get this thing ready for the new season. I know you're pretty eager just to get on the bike, hit the key, and start her up and get going. But that's often a recipe for a tow truck. So what we're going to do is we're going to inspect the fluids, such as the brakes, we're going to inspect the oil, we're going to inspect the coolant, and we're also going to inspect the physical brakes, and we're going to look for any kind of leaks or anything like that. Then, in another video, I'm going to do the spring service, such as an oil change on the Bergman 650. And also, one of the things that is basically a transmission and bike destroyer of these is a CVT stopper bolt. So I'm going to get that replaced in another video as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. Anyway, let's get started with checking out the bike. So this way you have an idea of what to look for on your motorcycle. Right, so let's go get started. So the first thing we'll do though, let's uncover the bike. Okay, we'll roll it forward. And since we're going to be doing some service to it, let's get it up on its center stand. There we go. Now it's ready for its inspection.
Part 1, Oil Inspection.
So on this bike, we've got a Phillips screw covering the service panel. And right here, we have the oil dipstick. Well, there's oil in it, but I don't see it, and I don't see a dipstick. And it seems like it's a little bit low on oil on this. So it's a good thing we didn't start it. She seems to be low on oil. Well, I have something here that I can use as a dipstick, because it is a dipstick, and I can see how much oil is actually in here. Let's try that again. I wouldn't say there's much oil in there at all. Yeah, good thing we never started this up. Could you imagine? No oil, and we started it up? Good way to kill the engine. Well, stay tuned for a future video where I give this bike an oil change, or apparently I'm going to be just giving it oil, which means there's a good chance there's an oil leak on this bike.
How dare you!
So let's see if we can quickly locate it. Well, let's see. Looks pretty wet around here. Yeah, it's all wet with oil here. Is this the culprit here? Or is it further up? Well, it seems to be right here, where the oil's seeping from. Interesting. I wonder if that's the oil cooler or what exactly that is. I'm gonna have to find out what that is and see what it entails to fix that. So I'm wondering, I think it may be that oil sensor. I think that thing's leaking. I think that's the problem right there, because that looks like where the majority of the oil is. I don't think it's coming from above, because it seems pretty dry above it, but below it is a disaster. I wonder what that is. I wonder if that's just like the oil pressure sensor, because it does just have a sensor unit, and it kind of looks like something you'd find on a small engine. So like, that's a really good possibility. As for the oil drain, what in the world? Why are there magnets all over it? There's like, I got it. They're trying to see if it's grinding metal, and so they're trying to magnetize the bolt. Very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. Well, that's an interesting thing to find. But it's a good thing we look over the bike, and this is the reason why you look over your bike after winter, because you never know what sort of seals have, well, degraded over the winter. And clearly that seal has degraded over the winter, and I lost all the oil. And no, it wasn't sitting out here, it was in the garage, which explains why there was such a puddle of oil.
Part 2. The Coolant Inspection. Hopefully there will be an earth-shattering kaboom!
Let's check the coolant then. So on this bike, it's right here. Very convenient under the inspection cover. Coolant's nice and full and yellow, and honest. Well, the coolant's nice and full and yellow, so that's a good sign. So at least we got lots of coolant. Well, since we've got the inspection cover off and we've already found the oil leak, let's see if there's any coolant leaks, although I'm not suspecting any because I didn't see any coolant puddling under the floor, and the coolant bottle seems full. I'm not seeing any kind of crusties anywhere that show coolant, but I'm seeing all this oil here. Okay, so it looks like the coolant system's pretty good. I don't see any leaks, and I didn't see any coolant pooling on the ground, so I'd say the coolant system on this thing, it's A-okay. So we don't need the cover off anymore, so we'll get the cover back on. Isn't that nice? It's actually stripped out. So, awesome. Okay. The interesting things you find on a 23-year-old bike. Part 3. Brakes. Okay, so we just got to turn the handlebar so it's parallel with the horizon, which is roughly about there. And then we just check the fluid, which the bubble's at the top, it's not low, and that fluid's actually really clear. And that's for the front and rear pair. Now let's see about the other side. So that one looks really dark. So I'm going to have to do a flush on that side. But it's full. So at least that system's full, and that's for the front brake. But it's really dark, so that's not good. That needs to be flushed. Okay, so let's get down and dirty and actually check our brake pads themselves. Pads themselves, they're not too bad. They're a little low. Get those replaced. And since I'm replacing the bottom set, I replace the top set, because the top set represents the front of the front brake pads.
You sure about that?
So when you pull the front brake, pulls these ones, and if you pull the left brake, it pulls these ones and it pulls the rears. So next, of course, is the rears. So I figure the rear pads, yeah, I can't even see them from here. Rear pads, yeah, I'm not liking the status of the rear pads. In fact, well, I don't really see them, and I'm just going to go with the thought that if the fronts are low, the rears are probably low, so it'd be good to replace them anyway. And let's see. I can feel them here. I can't quite see. It's really bright. Go figure, it's really bright and I can't see. But yeah, those do not look like they've got a lot of meat left on them. So, those pads will need to be replaced. Okay, so the next thing we should do is just quickly check all the signals and make sure that all the signals are good. That's about the final check, is just the exterior of the bike. Oh, I see something I missed. This before. This thing actually has dual front discs. So this side specifically is low, but it represents the front and the rear. This side, we have another set of brakes. So let's check where these ones go. These ones are a bit meatier. So these ones are still okay. I don't think I'm not going to replace them. Definitely going to be replacing these ones as well as the rears. So I figure I'll replace these ones, those ones, and the rears. That way I got a full set of new brakes all the way around. And you know you can be expecting a video on that in the near future. So we've got the coolant system checked, we got the oil checked, which there was no oil. So, and we've got the brakes checked. So we know the front brakes need to be replaced. Rear brakes look like they need to be replaced. Oil, no oil. So that needs to be topped up. And this thing's going to be due for an oil change anyway. And it looks like it needs an oil sensor, because that's what it looks like it's leaking. So let's do the final inspection part. And that's we're going to check the mirrors and check the lights.
Part 4. Exterior and wheels.
So we're going to switch it on. We're going to make sure the fuel pump stays off so there's no accidents. And let's see. We'll put the hazards on. Okay, so it looks like the battery's low because I haven't had it on charge for a little bit. But we've got all the lights working, it looks like. Isn't that nice? And the rear lights are working. So definitely needs to go on to charge because clearly the battery's low. Not a big deal. battery is easily accessible. But can't do anything with the bike yet until we get oil in there. So as I said at the start of the video, if you just go and you hop on that bike and you think it's springtime, let's go, and you start it up, as I said, there's a good chance you'll end up on a tow truck. And I just proved it. There's no oil. If I hopped on this bike and started it up, I'd probably get maybe a mile down the road, and next thing I know, I'd be looking for a new bike. So before you guys go out there and you hop on a bike, so although this bike has brand new tires, you do want to check a couple things on your tires, just in case you don't have new ones. Check for any kind of cracking, and also check the condition of your tread. See how much traction you actually have, because if your tires are bald, then it's time to replace them. This one here, other than the wheels being a little bit dirty, these tires are perfect. Another season for these. Right, so it's the next day, and we had a little bit of rain, but it's overcast, and I've had the bike plugged in overnight, so the light should work. So let's quickly turn it on, and let's test the lights. Make sure that stays off. Okay, so we've got the low beams on, and when the low beams are on, it's got the fog lights on. So let's switch to the high beams and see if the high beams switch. Yeah, see, when it's switched to the high beams, the fog lights, they turn white. Left signal. Looks good. Right signal. Looks good. Hazards. Yep, they're good. Now let's check the rear lights. Now for the brake lights, we got to keep an eye up here, because these supposedly do work. First, we'll try the signals. Left turn. Good. Right turn. Perfect. Right, now brakes. So we'll start with the left-hand brake. Okay, and now the right-hand brake. Right, so it looks like the lights work. Perfect. Now all we got to do is turn off the bike, and that's it. Anyway, guys, make sure you stay safe out there, have fun riding, and hopefully you'll be able to hop on your bike, lickety split, and get out of here. Me, I got a little bit of work to do. Alright guys, well, I'll see you in the next one.